Woodley United Fellowship, Pastor Duba here. Hope you're doing well. It was great seeing many of you in the parking lot this last Sunday. As many of you know, we're back doing drive-in church services. And I know this feels kind of like a step back for us just because we were inside and now we're back outside. But I want to encourage you that even though this feels like a step back, as it often does for me as well, just encourage you to think of this as an opportunity that we can use and leverage to invite more people to come to church that may not actually feel comfortable or maybe feel like it's okay, if you will, because of their past, whether it be other religions or their past because of where they are with God, to come to church and be inside church. And as strange as this may sound, I had an experience this last week where I've just been in conversation with someone about Christianity and Jesus and invited them to drive-in service. And they seem to feel more comfortable by our conversation with coming to a drive-in church service than actually coming to our church for regular church service, which is really interesting, I think. But I think something that we can leverage as a church body. So I encourage you, invite someone maybe that you've been having conversations with about Jesus, or just someone at work, a coworker, someone that you know is maybe on the fence about religion, if you will, to come to our drive-in church service, 9 a.m. on Sunday mornings. We'll be doing that probably for the foreseeable future from the way things are looking right now. The second thing I want to remind you of and encourage you with is this. We have been through so much in the last, 4 months or so. There's been cancellations. There's been changes to schedules, actually more cancellations than anything else. And that's been sad and honestly frustrating for many of us. But I want to just remind you that we as a church, Woodley United Fellowship, are still the same that we have been in regards to our mission and our vision. Our vision is that Woodland and beyond would know, love, and serve Jesus. How do we accomplish this? By our mission. We do this by gathering, by growing, and by going. And this is so important because we've spent some time talking about gathering and how important that is to love one another. We spent a lot of time at the beginning of this year talking about that as well. But also, through the pandemic, we've been having to gather online, if you will, and we've seen how important it is spiritually for us to gather in person, how much we just love that as a church body. But also growing is important. The second part of our mission is growing in discipleship and in prayer to see people closer with Jesus today than they were yesterday. And so as a church, we do that with gospel communities, with our Zoom Bible studies that we did for a time, through prayer meetings, just in whatever it takes for us to move closer to Jesus in our knowledge of him and him impacting and moving in our lives through the Spirit of God. So growing, so important to us, but also going so that people will know and hear the gospel. And this especially through our last series in Philippians, for the sake of the gospel, and also in Ephesians, transformed by the gospel. This year you will find the gospel being our theme, really setting us up for next year as we begin to practically live that out in a lot of different ways that we'll get to in 2021, which I'm really excited about. But don't forget who we are. We are a church that wants to see Woodland and beyond knowing, loving, and serving Jesus. And we want to gather for the gospel. We want to grow for the gospel. And we want to go for the gospel. Remember that. That's who we are as a church. That's who you are as followers of Jesus, a part of this body here. So invite someone to drive-in church. Remind yourself, remind them, pray through what that looks like for you as a member of the church to be a witness for Christ so that Woodland and beyond would know, love, and serve Jesus. I look forward to seeing you this Sunday at 9 o'clock out in the parking lot. Well, I'll be on the roof, but you'll be in the parking lot as we worship Jesus again, concluding Ephesians chapter 3. See you all soon.